Faça uma descrição com CO focado no Max Verstappen, Red Bull, treino no Bahrein, Lewis Hamilton e Ferrari em inglês. Quer uma descrição com os principais termos de pesquisa da semana sobre os assuntos do vídeo? Cada tópico de notícia deve ter no máximo 200 caracteres, além de uma parte com o que você verá no vídeo de hoje, com SEO de frases de cauda longa. Quero descrição grande. Max Verstappen has ignited a total bomb shock behind the scenes at SUZUKA, making it crystal clear that even a four-time world champion is drowning in the overwhelming complexity of the new technical regulations. Unbroadcast radio intercepts have pulled back the curtain on a brewing disaster, revealing that the Dutchman flatly ignored a critical directive from Gianpiero Lambiase during his high-stakes duel with Oscar Piastri. But as it turns out, this act of defiance drained his energy reserves at the worst possible moment, and the whispers from the paddock suggest that the tension between driver and pit wall has reached a definitive breaking point. The communication breakdown in Japan has sent shockwaves through Laurent Mekies and the entire Red Bull hierarchy, triggering immediate alarm bells. Lambiase had calculated a masterstroke, instructing Verstappen to concede the position to Piastri before the final chicane to guarantee a full deployment of the overtake mode on the main straight. But, as it happens, that tactical maneuver was never executed, leaving the team exposed. This raises a haunting question. Has the sheer number of cockpit functions now become a fatal operational risk? If the most analytical driver on the grid is losing the war against energy recovery systems, it strongly suggests that Red Bull has engineered a monster that is no longer efficient to manage under true racing conditions. The fallout on track was nothing short of humiliating for a team of this stature. A staggering exit in qualifying 2 and a dismal 8th place finish, trailing even the Alpine of Pierre Gasly. Verstappen was scathing in his assessment, branding the traction out of the slow corners as appalling, which serves as a definitive smoking gun that the RB22 has been stripped of its legendary aerodynamic superiority. While McLaren and Oscar Piastri seem to have mastered the precise timing of the additional 0.5 megajoules of electrical boost, Red Bull looks lost at sea with basic traction concepts. It leads us to a devastating conclusion. Could Wache's entire design philosophy be fundamentally flawed for this new era of power units? The atmosphere within the Mercedes garage has finally reached a toxic breaking point after George Russell revealed that a bizarre software malfunction in the W17 effectively handed a podium finish on a silver platter to Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Behind the scenes, the evidence is mounting that despite Kimi Antonelli securing a sensational victory, the Brackley squad is hiding a deeply concerning electronic vulnerability. This flaw can transform what is currently the fastest machine on the grid into a literal technological brick at the worst possible moment, specifically during high-stakes wheel-to-wheel combat. The admissions from Andrew Shovlin regarding a glitch triggered by a simple combination of a button press and a simultaneous gear change have sent alarm levels through the roof in Northamptonshire. At the same time, everything indicates that the staggering raw performance of the W17 is inextricably linked to a systemic instability that Russell is currently unable to fully harness. His own assessment that everything that could go wrong did go wrong offers a grim insight into the internal friction. A delicate question now haunts the team. Is Toto Wolff deliberately opting for a simplified interface to accommodate the meteoric talent of Antonelli, while Russell is de facto being used as a high-speed test pilot for an unrefined and experimental system? Russell made no secret of the fact that a victory was well within his grasp before the technical phenomenon known as superclipping left him utterly defenseless, particularly against the surging Ferraris and his former teammate. Lewis Hamilton exploited the situation with cold-blooded precision, proving once again that veteran racecraft is often worth more than any flawed software logic in a crisis. Meanwhile, the pressure on Russell is visibly intensifying as Antonelli has already pulled 9 points clear in the Drivers' Championship standings. One detail calls for attention. The frustration between the lines is palpable. If the W17 continues to suffer from these selective software blackouts, how much longer will Russell remain patient while the rookie shines at the expense of his own compromised races? Fernando Alonso has ignited a total bombshell by revealing that Honda has sensationally scrapped a critical performance component, the mysterious ball element, despite the fact that this specific part had visibly cured the chronic, bone-shaking vibrations of the AMR-26 during the practice sessions at SUZUKA. For the legendary Spaniard, it was the breakthrough he had desperately prayed for. Yet behind the scenes, the evidence is mounting that a paralyzing fear of a total mechanical heart attack forced the team to retreat to a far more punishing and potentially unsustainable engine map. The whispers from the paddock suggest that Aston Martin is now trapped in a technical nightmare where driver safety is being traded for a finish at any cost. The decision to rip out the new component after the Friday running has sparked an unprecedented debate regarding operational risk at the Silverstone factory. Adrian Newey had already issued a chilling warning that the abnormal harmonic frequencies produced by the Honda power unit could, in extreme circumstances, lead to irreversible nerve damage for the men behind the wheel. This places the team in a high-stakes ethical minefield between engineering necessity and human endurance. It appears that reliability remains the Achilles heel of the entire project, raising a haunting question. Is Lawrence Stroll currently prepared to sacrifice the physical well-being of his drivers just to ensure the green machines actually see the checkered flag? Honda has since confirmed that a revolutionary battery stabilization element, internally codenamed the ball, was indeed trialled on Friday and provided a massive leap in driver comfort. However, one detail calls for attention. Shintaro Orihara openly admitted that the part was purged before the Grand Prix due to terrifying concerns over a catastrophic reliability failure. This fuels the suspicion that the entire 2026 Honda project may have been conceived with a fundamental harmonic instability at its core. The current fixes look like nothing more than temporary plasters that soothe the symptoms while creating dangerous new stress points within the intricate architecture of the power unit. The 7-time world champion has pulled no punches regarding the upcoming April summit with the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, making it explicitly clear that the true protagonists of Formula One have been relegated to mere spectators of a rulebook he brands as nothing short of dangerous. Behind the scenes, the friction between the elite drivers and the governing body is reaching a definitive breaking point, and Lewis Hamilton has openly suggested that internal political machinations are systematically eroding the very soul of the sport. The whispers from the paddock indicate that the disconnect between those in the boardroom and those in the cockpit has never been more cavernous. Hamilton's scathing remarks concerning the official meeting have ignited an unprecedented firestorm regarding the structural risks embedded in the new era. He put it bluntly, "Too many cooks spoil the broth," a direct and savage critique of the fact that the men risking their lives at speeds exceeding 200 miles per hour have virtually zero influence over the decision-making processes. The rot seems to be deep within the system, as drivers are stripped of voting rights in key committees and forced to swallow mandates dictated solely by corporate team interests. This raises a haunting question. Has the governing body completely surrendered control over safety and sporting integrity in favor of a soulless technocratic bureaucracy? On a purely technical level, the devastating consequences of the new power unit regulations are becoming impossible to ignore. Hamilton has gone on the record, stating that Ferrari is massively lagging behind when compared to the sheer grunt of the Mercedes powertrain. He specifically questioned whether the silver-clad rivals have secured their advantage through a superior turbocharger architecture or significantly higher crankshaft output. This exposure of a massive technical void within the Scuderia is a total bombshell. It leads us to a grim consideration. If the combined feedback of legends like Hamilton and Carlos Sainz cannot fix critical safety flaws, such as the terrifying 31 miles per hour speed deltas that caused Oliver Behrman's horror shunt, how on earth can Ferrari bridge this gap before 2026? In the end, one life or death question remains. Will the authorities finally have the backbone to listen to the men in the helmets? Or is Formula One destined to become a political game of chess where the drivers are the first pawns to be sacrificed?